Mind over matter. What we do not mind should not matter. When it comes to our mental health, however, our mind does matter. 1 in 5 teenagers develop serious mental disorders, and this figure translates onto our student body. Between 2000 and 2018, the national suicide rate amongst people aged 10 to 24 increased by more than 57%. Teen Mental Health First Aid contains the materials our school needs to help our at-risk students. Upon approving TMHFA, our school will work to improve mental health and traumatic events, educate students on the dangers of social media and how to use it effectively, and combat substance abuse. The board should vote to pass this program to alleviate senses of hopelessness and anxiety during the COVID-19 pandemic, build better medicines, and decrease substance use in their citizens. The novel COVID-19 virus led to millions of deaths worldwide and 525,000 deaths in the United States. As a result, teen mental health decayed at an astronomical rate. Time magazine reports a 334% spike in intentional self-harming among 13 to 18-year-olds in the Northeast in August of 2020 compared to the same month of last year. Furthermore, they observed a 49.6% increase in depression and 67.5% increase in generalized anxiety disorder among 19 to 22-year-olds across the United States in April of 2020 compared to April of 2019. Health professionals speculate the lack of social interaction and extreme isolation are causing these spikes and decreasing mental health. Humans, especially teenagers, are very social creatures. Thus, the lack of school, friends, and peers will guide teens towards a very lonely path where all they have are their turbulent emotions and even a troublesome home life. Ultimately, if we want to see this trend decrease, we need to pass the vital TMHFA action plan.
Not only is the intense isolation proving to be detrimental to mental health, but so is the rise of social media. The rise of social media leads to the rise in drastic changes. Unfortunately, however, these changes incite the fall of adolescent mental health. Indeed, according to the Pew Research Center, 69% of adults and 81% of teens in the United States use social media. This puts a large amount of the population at an increased risk of feeling anxious, depressed, or ill over their social media use. Females reporting high levels of internet use or number of hours online were found to be at an increased risk of depression, whereas males with high levels of internet use were at an increased risk for self-harm. And a survey conducted by the Royal Security for Public Health asked 14 to 24-year-olds in the UK how social media platforms impacted their health and well-being. The survey results found that Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram all led to increased feelings of depression, anxiety, poor body images, and loneliness. Therefore, if we want to decrease the negative impacts brought upon by social media, it is our duty to implement the TMHFA action plan. Not only is the rise of social media proving to be very harmful for the students and adolescents, but so is substance abuse, and we will plan to combat substance abuse. Millions of young adults live with mental or substance abuse and do not realize they have one or the other because they're not paying attention to the signs and not seeking help. TMHFA seeks to teach students to recognize mental illnesses and reduce substance abuse. Of the 8.9 million adults who reported suffering from mental illness in 2018, more than 2 in 5 went untreated. And of the 5.1 million with a substance use disorder, nearly 9 in 10 did not get treatment. 30 to 45% of young adolescents with mental health disorders have a co-occurring substance abuse disorder. And 65% or more of youth with substance use disorders also have a mental health disorder. It is important to remind students that asking for help is a normal part of life, and they should never feel alone. TMHFA works to educate students on mental health, getting diagnosis, and finding help amongst their peers. Before we enact this plan, of course, we want to create a survey for our faculty, staff, and students, making sure that we have everyone on board. The survey will include information on the program itself, an anonymous comment section asking for considerations and suggestions, and several questions gauging whether or not students feel comfortable with the idea of implementing TMHFA at our campus. In addition, we'll be asking for certain improvements or considerations that our students and faculty have. We are making this program not for us, but for our school. So it is our absolute duty that we take their thoughts into consideration for this entire process.
Using the skills we acquire from TMHFA, we will engage in the following activities to promote mental health awareness amongst our student body. To address the first issue of COVID-19 isolation, we will host 2 weekly Zoom meetings, each serving a different purpose. The first meeting will allow students to interact with one another on a large scale as they usually would during a regular school year. It will serve as a safe space where our student body can have fun with their classmates while experiencing a slice of regular life. On a more serious note, the second meeting will be on a much smaller scale, providing one-on-one interaction between students and TMHFA certified volunteers, such as teachers or counselors who are qualified to discuss mental health issues. To address the second issue of the rising influence of social media, qualified speakers will host various meetings informing the student body about the growing effects of social media on teen mental health, providing them with a way to navigate the ever-growing internet. Furthermore, TMHFA allows schools to promote a day of disconnect in which students are encouraged to take time away from their online classes and social media to reflect on their own mental well-being. After almost a year of online instruction with minimal face-to-face interaction, my peers, as well as myself, have begun to feel a lack of overall motivation. By allowing us to disconnect from the stresses of the online world, we will unambiguously have the opportunity to recharge our mental battery. Speaking from personal experience, I have taken days of disconnect throughout the summer where I lock my phone in a box and enjoy the world as it is. And let me tell you, it truly does have a beneficial impact on your mental well-being. TMHFA provides support for students with substance abuse disorders to address the third and final issue. Upon completing their training program, TMHFA volunteers will provide lectures informing our student body about the early warning signs of substance abuse disorders and how to address the situation. From firsthand experience, I know for a fact that students would rather talk to someone their age about their issues than someone 3 times older than them. By training our student body to properly handle these situations, we will be able to create a support system that allows those facing drug addiction to talk to their peers about how they truly feel. In conclusion, a working, well-oiled machine has various components that individually serve no purpose, but together they unite to effectuate prosperous outcomes. Both our physical and mental health are components of the well-oiled machine that is the human body. And with that being said, as HOSA future health professionals, it is our top priority to care for our peers. Not only do we want to improve the mental health of our students, but we want to take this journey with them every step of the way. If we want to fulfill our duty to our student body, we must implement the TMHFA action plan. We must ensure that we fight the effects of COVID-19 isolation. We must decrease the negative impact of social media. We must continue to fight the war against drugs, and we must realize that the mind does matter. Thank you.
Bodied that.